Thank you, Mr Speaker. Kia ora te whānau. To the Minister, why will the cancellation of the government's plans to mine sensitive conservation land have no effect on GDP growth projections over the next 5 years?
The Honourable Bill English.
Mr Speaker, as the plans to extend mining were not confirmed government policy, they were not included in the budget economic projections.
The Honourable David Cunliffe.
Speaker, why was mining Schedule 4 conservation land then part of the government's economic step change agenda when he has been conspicuously unable to give us any projections of the impact it was expected to have on GDP over the next 5, 10 or 15 years?
The Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr Speaker, mining and the use of other resources is part of the government's agenda. Schedule 4 mining was only ever a small part of the potential in this country, and the government continues to encourage those who want to turn that potential into real jobs and higher incomes for New Zealand families.
The Honourable David Cunliffe.
Mr Speaker, are the government's proposed changes to employment law part of the step change economic agenda, which will allow an employer to fire an employee without good reason? And if so, will it have a measurable impact on GDP? And if so, by how much?
The Honourable Bill English.
Mr Speaker, the extension of the 90-day trial period is part of a package of industrial measures that have pretty broad support in the community. We believe they'll provide more opportunities for people who don't have jobs to get them, and more opportunities for businesses in New Zealand who are a bit tentative about the economic recovery to actually take someone on, thereby providing a new job and a higher income for a New Zealand family.
Aaron Gilmore.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Supplementary to the Minister.
Point of order, I beg your pardon, the member's pardon. Point of order, the Honourable David Cunliffe.
The Minister has not addressed the question. It was a straight question. It went to the GDP impact of the proposed law change. There was no mention of the economic impact whatsoever.
Oh, with respect, I think the member had several pieces to the question. To expect in a supplementary question to go through each of those pieces, I think is a bit beyond the requirements of standing orders. Aaron Gilmore.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Supplementary to the Minister. What are the GDP projections for the next few years, and how do they compare with the last 5 years?
The Honourable Bill English.
Mr Speaker, Budget 2010 includes the forecasts for the next 4 years, and they show, on average, the economy growing at 3.1% per year, but they also point out the risks to that growth. The rate achieved over the past 4 years was 0.5% growth of GDP, including 3 years from 2005 where our per capita GDP growth actually shrank.
The Honourable David Cunliffe.
To the Minister, given that the budget's projection was that his tax cut package will add less than 1% growth to GDP over an entire 7 years, what policy or policies does he plan which will actually close the gap with Australia?
The Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr Speaker, we believe the range of measures, including the tax package, the infrastructure investment, cutting red tape, raising skills, increasing innovation, will all add to growth. But the most important thing New Zealand has done to improve its growth prospects was voting the reckless Labor government out.
Question number 5, David Bennett.